that for sure. All right. Robin, did you have any questions, or Doug, you guys are just recently joined. Do you have any specific questions about the data export function?
No,
I don't
I didn't.
I don't have a presentation. This was really just, I don't know what questions people have. More people are using it, but I'm not hearing a lot of questions about it. And I just wanted to make sure you guys had a chance to ask questions. And I figured if one person had a question, somebody else might as well.
Honestly, Aaron, I haven't even tried it. So I was just on here to see if I could pick up little tips or hints or for when I do.
Right. Okay. I'm going to at least, I don't want this to be, okay. I was going to share my screen, but I can't find my JCMS now because, as I just said, I'm not the computer technology person. All right. There it is. So I don't remember what all I put in the training video. You can find a guidebook with all the codes and stuff on our website under the JCMS down here where it says Data Export Guide and Code Book. If you do utilize the data export function, it will come up in coded value. So the only one I know off the top of my head is gender. In the JCMS, you see female, male, non-binary, prefer not to say. But in the export function, it will come up as 1, 2, 3, 4. So where did it go? I was going to show you that I actually knew it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a code that correlates to something. So if you are trying to utilize the data export function, you'll need this code book to kind of figure out what those numbers mean. Not everybody in every agency has access to the data export function. Everybody that I emailed for this, I did set up with this permission. So everybody here should see it. If you have it, it'll be right there where it says data export. You can see everybody who's done an export, but you can only click on yours. Even within your own agencies, like Robin, if you ran one and then Randy ran another one, you would still only be able to click on yours. You wouldn't be able to click on Randy's link. So that's a mechanism to try to keep, even within the same agency, not everybody should be able to see the same data. So it does take a while to run. Like Elaine, I can see you have one in process. I personally have never timed it. I believe a message comes up that says it'll take about an hour. In all transparency, I usually start running it and then forget about it for several hours. So I can't tell you if it's an hour or less. I always forget and then go back to it later. As you can see, whatever is run sticks around for quite a while. If you want to delete yours out after you've gotten what you need, you just click the little X over here and it will take it out of the list. At one point in time, the programmers indicated that they would go through and clean it up on a regular basis. Like, I mean, Amy and I started testing this a year ago, so those ones could easily be removed. They don't need to be in here taking up space. So if you are using it and you see the list growing and shrinking, it could be that people are requesting exports and then also deleting out their own after they're done with them.
Aaron, I do have a question.
Mhm.
There aren't any like parameters on dates, so it just exports data that's everything, correct?
Absolutely everything that's ever been entered in since the
Wow,
beginning of you entering in data. Yes,
that's quite an export.
it really is.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Doug, and actually, it is everything. So the files you wind up pulling could be more than you need, if that makes sense. Like if you're just looking for referrals, like how many referrals you've received in the past 2 to 3 years. I actually had a program ask me that because they wanted to show the increase in referrals to justify hiring new people. And I would not recommend using the export function for that. It's actually much easier to use. Hold on, I got to move
Just the
faces.
reports, right?
Yep. I got to move the faces again. Hang on. This case summary by date report, you run it. That one you do put in date parameters. And so, like, if you're trying to show change in referrals from year to year, you would do 1 year and then you would do the next year, or you could run it from beginning, whatever the two timeframes, beginning to end, and then in that Excel sheet, split them apart. But yes, you're right. There are some things that these other pre-created reports will be much easier than waiting for this extract to download and then going in and coding it. And yeah, it is.
So what
it is.
what would be an example of why you would need to utilize the export? I mean, is it to look at just, I mean, gender for everybody, or I don't know. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what I would use it for, need it for.
Oh, that is a good question, Doug. So if you are trying to look at more than one field at a time, if you're looking at more than number of referrals or race and gender of referrals, because you can do that in the demographics report. It's the last one on the list. It says for county lead, but I'm pretty sure everybody with an edit permission can actually see this report. That one will show you age, race, and gender by program type within the time frame that you're specifying. So the export function would be more for like determining. Okay, so on a truancy case, if you wanted to know the GPAs from start to finish, you're not going to find that in any of the reports that are pre-populated in the JCMS. If you wanted to know success rates or completion type compared back to their reason for referral, you would probably need the export function for that. It's getting pretty detailed. In addition, this is the one question I have been asked in an email, and I'm surprised that I only heard it once. When you run the export function, the names of the youth won't show up on every page. And so the last, let me go back to the code book. The last several pages of this code guidebook are how to merge in Excel so that you could potentially, if you were trying to go from one sheet to the next and retain the names of the youth, you have to get a little fancy in Excel. Kevin created this walkthrough, and I will say that I've used it multiple times. I have a recorded video that I thought was put on the website, which I will make sure is on the website after this. Once you do it once or twice, it looks daunting, but you go through it a couple times and the merging process is not actually that terrible. It is time consuming though, and then you wind up with a ton of fields and when you may only really need 2 of them. So since Doug asked the hard question, does anybody else have any others?
Where did you find that guidebook, Erin? Where's that guidebook?
On the Crime Commission's webpage, on the Juvenile Programs and Interventions page within the Crime Commission's website, under JCMS. Oop. Click on it. It's right now, it's the last link JCMS data export guide and code book. I will request that those 2 training videos be put right underneath that guidebook. I could have sworn they were already up there, but I must be thinking of other videos. I mean, and Doug, I do know somebody else, we have a truancy program who said they plan to utilize this to see one of the truancy fields is I think actual graduation date or year. And that's not something that will show up on a pre-populated report, and it won't show up on an anomaly report because it's not a required field. But for them in their agency, they do want to see if the youth are actually graduating and how much longer it's taking them. And so they're going to use it. They're going to they're going to do a data extract. I think she decided sometime in the summer when the program's not quite as busy, and then go through and see everybody with a blank and look them back up in the school records and see if they did graduate. That's for their own, they want to be able to track that and map that and use that for their own benefit. That's not, like I said, it's not a required variable. So it's nothing anyone's going to come knocking on your door about, but does anybody else have any questions?
I have a question, Erin.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm just now writing. One of our local nonprofits, they are wondering from JCMS to find out how many youth did community service hours. I tried, I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I don't know if that's or not.
If the community service hours are being recorded, like on the diversion case plan, is that where you would be looking?
Yeah. So if there's a way to hold the number of volunteers, let's say like the community, without having to look up each.
Okay, so diversion has more reports in the JCMS that are pre-populated. Amy, I don't know if you can get this one faster than I can, because I admittedly am not as familiar with the diversion reports. Trying to. Let's see.
We're looking for community service hours.
Yeah, this particular report just shows what they were assigned, not necessarily how many hours they did. So that might be something you would need to get through the export function.
But I think that
I'll see. I wonder if it's on the NCC report. I feel like restitution or diversion fees was on the NCC report. I wonder if community service hours was too.
That was also at one time trying to find, because apparently there was either an extra number or something punched on our restitution, and it should have been like $3,000 and it was like 30,000. And I could never find it. I sent an email to Deb. Is it pronounced Katja? Kasha? And I never did hear back.
Saha, I think.
Yeah, it's Saha.
Okay. I never did hear back on, if there was an easy way to find if there was an error on that, because obviously 3,000 versus 33,000 is a big difference.
I think I just broke my JCMS trying to run an NC. Oh, there it goes. I think it just shows, I mean, on our end, my report just shows how many kids were assigned community service.
I think what you ran.
This one is the NCC report.
Oh, no, the one. I just ran it off.
I'm sorry, Leslie, I didn't catch that whole, I didn't catch
No.
all of that.
That's okay. I think I got it. I think. what
Okay.
I needed.
One, and does anybody
I
else
think I
have?
found something. Yeah, it's on the oh no, I lost it.
Clicked off the
Diversion
screen.
activity report by date was showing like total number of community service hours. Completed, but it's not like per person, it's overall within your date range.
All right. I'm gonna put a link to the casebook in the chat so that everybody has it. One, unless somebody has another specific question, thing I would point out on the data export function is you have the ability to run an all report or a program specific one, or program type specific one, apologies. So you can pick all and it will give you everything that you have permission for. So if all you have is truancy, you'll just get truancy. If you're somebody who enters for more than one program type, like maybe diversion and truancy, you'll get both diversion and truancy if you run all. Otherwise, if you just need the program specific. But if you run an all report, you will get all, like Doug was saying, it's all the fields entered for all of time, but it will be in a bunch of different spreadsheets. But what the system will do is it will put everybody that you've ever entered in the JCMS, regardless of program type, into the demographic tables. So I have a different type of permission level. So I don't see names and I don't see birthdays. When you guys run yours, you'll actually have the names and the real dates of birth, no 1900s. And I know this, I've seen actual people's, like I said, my permissions are set slightly differently. So, but this is every kid in our test system. Like, there's no program type designation on this particular sheet. So if you can avoid running an all, avoid running an all. Like, get the by program type is the message behind this. Hold on, I just realized you couldn't see my spreadsheet. There we go. So this is a demographic profile. It'll have the profile ID, student ID, date of birth. Again, you guys will actually see the real date of birth, gender, names, race, and ethnicity, and then Hispanic, non-Hispanic. So again, there's no program type designation. It's just every kid entered into the system on one spreadsheet. So really, if you can, go program type specific and not all. It will save you a lot of a lot of headache.
Well, I have a video going about this.
Hi, Caroline, would you want to tell us very briefly, like, what if they want to help us with job shadowing and just like learning a little bit more about?
Anybody have any other questions?
You know how much availability you have, or if you'll be available the week that grant is due and next week?
Next week I will be at a conference, so I'll have access to my email, but won't be checking it terribly frequently. The week after, I will be sitting in this exact same chair the entire week, except, well, up till the grant is due. The day after the grant is due, I have several meetings, but
The next week, you're really not. You're at a conference all week.
yep. I'll be checking my email because of the grant being due. I'm not just gonna run away and leave you all without some, if you have questions, but I can't guarantee that I'll respond within 5 minutes of you sending your email.
Well, that's good to know. And I just want to say to you, if it wasn't for you, I couldn't even begin to do my job. So I want you to know that and know that I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Georgia. We very much appreciate what you guys do for the youth of Nebraska. And I know we've told you that before, that we are here because you guys are out there working with the youth. I plan to just hang out in this room, in my WebEx room, for a little bit longer if anybody has any other questions. If you have a question and don't want it said in front of a group, you can always give me a call or send me an email. Again, the data export function is something that's new and it's a beast. There's a lot of data that gets thrown at you when you open one of these Excel sheets. And so my first recommendation would be to attempt to use the other pre-populated reports in the JCMS if you can. If you're not able to, use that guidebook. And if you have gone through the guidebook and you're still completely stumped, let me know and I can see what help I can provide. And if I can't, I will refer you over to Kevin, who did the majority of the guidebook and understands behind the scenes of the JCMS better than I do. So I can tell you what it looks like on the front, but not the back end. So.
And honestly, Aaron, that anomaly report that we got, I haven't looked at it. It's not going to get looked until probably after Christmas or the New Year.
Right. I'm going to stop recording.